Hello Team FD and welcome to Cheap versus Expensive Footballers, where we do our very best to find your club bang for buck in the transfer market. In this episode, we're looking for the next great striker at three different price points: 0 to 3 million, 5 to 10 million and 20 mil plus. The only rule is that all of our targets have to be under the age of 23, because if they're established, well, it wouldn't be as much of a challenge, would it? Then, at the end of the show, I want you to comment where each player should go and why, and I'll pin the best one. Pretty simple. And if this video does 3k likes, we'll go ahead and roll out this concept with midfielders. Today's episode is brought to you in collaboration with our friends over at Scouted Football. And if you haven't checked out their latest mag, don't know why you wouldn't have done that, look how gorgeous the front cover is, hit that link in the description below and it will take you to their website. Let's go. The cheap option. Victor Oko Boniface. 19-year-old Nigerian Victor Oko Boniface plies his trade in Norway with FK Bodo Glimt, who recently made history by winning the Elite Serie N for the first time in their 104-year existence. 2 years ago, the club staved off relegation by just 3 points. Now they're set to break a whole host of records, including most points, most goals, most wins, and the biggest winning margin. So it's safe to say that Boniface, who signed in March 2019 after graduating from Lagos-based development side Real Sapphire, has arrived at the club at the right time. Originally, he was on trial at Oslo-based side Vålerenga, who eventually turned down the opportunity to sign him. But the capital club's loss was Bodo Glimt's gain. After scoring a brace against Ålesund while on trial at Glimt, the club's director insisted he was substituted immediately, just in case any other club got wind of the talent they had on their hands. This season, the Nigerian has been making up for lost time, registering 8 goal involvements in just 7 league starts. Had it not been for the irrepressible form of Philip Zinkernagel and Kasper Juncker, who were both putting up an XGA of over 1.2 per 90, then surely the Nigerian would have registered more game time. However, both players have 6 years on Boniface and have been linked with moves to Europe's top divisions. So, this time next year, the young Nigerian may well be called upon as a starter, and if that happens, his value could soar. Admittedly, it's difficult to judge how a player's form in Norway, who are ranked 24th in UEFA's coefficient, will translate to a stronger league in Europe. Saying that, you only have to look at the recent sale of Jens Petter Hauge to AC Milan and the host of young talent that's coming through at international level to realise that Norway's pedigree is on the up. Playing style. Although Boniface is mainly utilised as a target man, he likes to drop deep too to help his teammates link play in other areas. This is illustrated by the fact that he's averaging across every other game, a very similar rate to a top-level fullback in the Premier League. The 19-year-old is also equally adept at driving at defences and playing that final killer pass, hence his very healthy expected assist return of 0.22 per 90. For context, Raheem Sterling's was 0.19 after 12 league games in the 2021 season. Of course, there's clear room for improvement, particularly with his finishing and his timing of the runs inside the box. For example, his shots on target have dropped by 11% this season as his minutes have climbed, meaning that only 1.3 of his 3.2 shots per 90 registers on target. It's safe to say that Boniface isn't short of admirers, with Norwegian football pundit Ole Martin Arst touting him for an 8-digit transfer. However, given that Jens Petter Hauge went to AC Milan for just 4.5 million after 29 goal involvements in 21 games, we think this is a touch optimistic. Boniface is currently valued at just 200k by Transfermarkt, although if he finishes the season as strongly as he started it, we can see his value climbing to something that resembles Hauge's. A mid-table side in Holland or Belgium may be a great next step for the youngster. Medium option. Matías Orejo. At just 18 years old, Matías Orejo is the youngest baller on this list and currently plies his trade with CA River Plate in Uruguay's capital, Montevideo. Despite being Boniface's junior, Orejo has already racked up more top-flight minutes, scoring an impressive 16 goals since his debut in the Primera Division, aged just 16. Somewhat predictably, this has led to Luis Suarez comparisons, with Uruguayan football fans acutely aware that both Suarez and Cavani turn 34 early next year. In short, Las Celeste fans are desperate for a new hero, and Orejo, along with the likes of Darwin Núñez, are expected to step up. Promoted to the first team aged just 15 in 2018, Orejo got his first taste of senior football a year later under coach Jorge Fossati. He then cemented his reputation as Uruguay's next big thing after a prolific under-17s Sudamericano tournament in 2019, where he scored 5 goals in 7 appearances, finishing as the second top goal scorer. Ultimately, Orejo finished his debut season with 6 goals in just 22 appearances for the Dockers, and was voted the Uruguayan top flight's best newcomer in the process. This was hardly surprising given that the team averaged 0.74 more goals per 90 when he was on the pitch. At the time of writing, his performance levels are only on the up, having scored 10 goals in 24 appearances across all competitions, particularly impressive in the league considering his side are languishing in the bottom half. Playing style. Orejo's relentless, disruptive style of play as a second striker has drawn frequent comparisons with Inter Milan's Lautaro Martinez. And just like the barrel-chested Argentinian, Orejo backs himself anywhere on the pitch. The 5'8" forward takes roughly 3.6 shots per 90, a figure that belies his tender years. For perspective, that's a shot more per game than Mason Greenwood when he broke through at Manchester United aged 18. Despite a habit of shooting from distance, he's also maintained a healthy shot accuracy of 50%, marginally better than Ollie Watkins this season. Orejo also has a gift for finding space inside the box, adjusting his position intelligently to either find space or create separation amongst the defence. It's this intelligent positional play that makes up for his lack of top-end speed. His very promising expected goals value of 0.41, which is coincidentally the same as João Felix this season at Atletico Madrid, is indicative of someone that will soon grow out of his surroundings. And according to his manager Fossati, he has the temperament to deal with it. I've seen many players with his qualities, but another mindset. His qualities together with his mindset, I've seen very few. Despite his brothers being named after David Beckham and Iker Casillas, it might be Matthias that puts the Orejos on the map. Expensive option, Danielle Mallon. The likelihood is that you've heard the name Danielle Mallon. He's literally the Netherlands' worst kept secret, and the man recently tipped to replace Jadon Sancho at Borussia Dortmund. In 2015, he left Ajax's youth system to go to Arsenal, where he'd eventually sign his first professional contract, train and play with the first team in pre-season friendlies. However, despite scoring 11 goals in 21 starts for the Gunners' under-18 side, the club somewhat bizarrely chose to offload him for just $540k to PSV in 2017. Like Serge Gnabry before him, Madeleine Starr continued to rise, and he finished as young PSV's top goal scorer in the 17-18 campaign, even forcing his way into the first team picture. Little over a year later, after contributing to a goal every 69 minutes in league play for PSV in 18-19, Mallon made his Orangi debut, coming off the bench to score against bitter rivals Germany. However, the following season would prove bittersweet for Mallon, who would start well but then miss the majority of the domestic campaign with a serious knee injury. Simply put, PSV weren't the same side without him. To compound this point, he finished as the club's top goal scorer despite only featuring in 14 games. Now, in season 2021, the youngster is making up for lost time, having scored 11 goals in his first 14 League and Europa League games. Playing style. While at Arsenal, Mallon was often utilised as a wide forward, drawing comparisons with Alexis Sanchez. Now, he's evolved very much into a centre forward, having started 14 of PSV's first 19 games in all competitions down the middle. In fact, of his 3.9 shots per 90, a formidable 3 of them arrive inside the box, the second best return in the division. And as if to compound his transformation from creative wide man to penalty box predator, his key passes have fallen from 2.6 last season to 0.7 at the start of 2021. In short, manager Roger Schmidt doesn't want Mallon creating chances, he wants him on the end of them. Unsurprising given that every 1 in 3 shots that the Dutchman puts on target with that sweet right foot flies past the keeper. Mallon has a robustness that's reminiscent of countryman Memphis Depay. This is perfectly illustrated by the fact that it's really hard to get him off the ball. In fact, he cedes possession fewer times than seasoned campaigners like Dusan Tadic. This strength, coupled with his natural pace, which seems unaffected by the aforementioned knee injury from 1920, means that he's unlikely to find it difficult to adjust to the physical rigours of a better league. When Steven Bergvine was snapped up by Tottenham for £27 million from PSV, the Dutchman had contributed to 41 goals in 49 league appearances. Mallon is now approaching that level of output, with 27 goals or assists in his last 32 games. In fact, his non-penalty expected goals and assists over the last 2 seasons stands at over 1 per 90. Given that Mallon's agent is Mino Raiola, we may see him follow a similar career path to the one that was laid out for Erling Braut Haaland, wherein his next club is a stepping stone rather than a superpower. Right now, if you can get Mallon for Bergvine money, it's a gamble worth taking. But I suspect top clubs are waiting for his fitness to catch up with his talent before they make their move. This creates a small window of opportunity for a middling club to swoop in and spend those big bucks. But where can you see Mallon? Let me know in the comments below. So guys, that was our first episode of Cheap versus Expensive Footballers. What did you think? Let me know your honest reviews in the comments below. I also want to know where you think these players should go and why, and which one your club should swoop for. Like I said, I'll pin my favourite one. And just to reiterate, if we hit 3k likes, I'll do this very same concept, but using midfielders. That's it for this week, guys. Make sure you subscribe to the channel with notifications on, and we'll see you next time.